Have you noticed that once I initiate this loop, it continues until it reaches last iterator of this object, right? But what should I do if I want to stop execution before reaching to the end of this loop? That's where break and continue keywords are come into play, right? So now let's talk about the break statement first. Let's suppose we have a loop 1, and if this loop is encounter a break statement, then the control flow of this loop will be terminated and the next line after this loop will be executed. Now let's suppose you have hunger for 4 Indian breads, also known as roti or chapati, right? So roti is equal to 4. Now your mom is serving you 10 rotis to eat, but you want only what? 4. So here you can tell your mother that I want more rotis if the number of roti is less than 4. So here I want more, but if the number is equal to 4, then I don't want it anymore. So let's see inside the VS Code what do I mean. So here again I am going to use a for loop. So let roti is equal to 1. Let's say initially we have 1 roti and my mom is serving 10 rotis to me. So roti is going to iterate from 1 to what? 10. And in the each iteration I am going to increment the value of I, that is roti, by 1. Roti plus plus. Inside this curly braces we need to define our logic or condition. If the roti is less than 4, then need to print a string that is the number of roti. Else if the roti is equal to 4, then need to print again a string smiley, else the number of roti. Now let's save and run it. Did you notice one thing? It will execute some extra iteration that we do not want. We only want that stop the execution of this loop after this line of code. So how can you do it? That's why break statement come into the picture. After this line, we need to implement or use a break statement. So after this line, here we need to use a break statement, and that's it. And if I run this code, then we'll get only this 4 string, right? Let's run it, and here is the output. And after this line, it will be not executed because the loop encounter break statement, and break statement is used to break the control flow of this loop or get out the control flow after this loop. That means after this line of code, that is 169. So if I write over here CLG first, so after this line of code, first string will be printed as the output. Let's run it as the output. So the control flow will be moved in this code like loop will be started from 1, then it will check 1 is less than 10, true. Then it will enter into these curly braces, then it checks if 1 is less than 4, yeah, it is true. Then in the first iteration, this line of code will be executed 1 time, 2 time as well, 3 time as well. And if roti is equal to 4, 4 is less than 4, no. This time it is wrong. Then it will move to the next block of code, that is this else if code. If 4 is equal to 4, yeah, it is true. Then this line of code will be executed, then it will encounter a break statement. And once the control flow encounter the break statement, then the control flow will be get out from this loop, and the code written outside or below this line of code will be executed, right? So this is the basic control flow of this break statement. If the break statement is encountered, then this control flow of this for loop or any loop will be terminated directly. So this is the main thing you need to keep in your mind, right? And similar to break statement, we have another keyword, that is continue keyword. Let's see inside the VS Code, then we'll talk about the control flow of this loop, right? So let's see. Let's suppose I am taking this example as well this time. So let's write for let roti is equal to 1 if roti is less than equal to 10 and roti plus plus, and inside this parenthesis I want to print a special string if I get the number 4 or if I get the number of rotis is equal to 4. So let's write a condition. If roti is equal to 4, then print a string that is only 4 rotis, else roti. Let's run it. But did you notice one thing, that I am repeating this 4 2 times. So if I apply a keyword continue over here, so this last 4 will be ignored. Let's run it, and here is the output. I want to print a special string if I got only 4 rotis, and I do not care before and after the 4 rotis. Let's see the control flow of this loop as well, right? So similar to last one, it will also start from 1, and 1 is less than 10. Yeah, true. Then it will enter into these curly braces and then check if 1 is equal to 4. No. Then it will print this roti. So 1. Then again the value of I or roti will be incremented by 1, that is 2. 2 is less than 10. Yes. Here is also wrong, and again 2 will be printed into the console, and 3 as well. And if the 4 is less than 10, yes, then it will print this string into this console, and then it will encounter a continue keyword. Unlike break statement, if the loop will be encounter a continue keyword, instead going out of this loop, it will move to this iterator, and then the value of the I will be incremented by 1, and then again condition will be checked. So that is the basic difference between break and continue keyword. The difference between both of them are very simple. If the control flow will encounter continue keyword, so instead of getting out from this loop, it will go to this iterator and it will increment the value of I, then it will again check the value of I, then it will enter into this loop. But when a loop encounter a break keyword, then it will get out from this loop, and the lines of code after this loop will be executed.